What is up, everyone? It is your boy Al with the Heavy Hitter Bully Crew, and today we are back with another lit video for you guys, but something that's very different. It's going to be a reactionary video. Obviously, as all of you know, there was a huge post that circulated around the whole community that has a bunch of mixed opinions, whether good or bad, and the news was something that I needed to actually stop production on the favorite standard video to be able to showcase to you all my opinion on this huge news that has circulated around the community. So with that being said, y'all all know how I get down. We give all the praise to the Most High for giving us the opportunity to be able to bring to you this video right here. Don't forget to like, comment, and sub to the channel. Check off the bell notification icon to become part of the family. And now, let's get into the video. So there was a post that was created by the president and the founder of the American Bully Kennel Club that circulated amongst the whole community this past week, and it's very controversial. A lot of people have given their thoughts on it, and a lot of people have shared this post, whether good or bad. And what I'm going to be doing, right, is I'm going to be reading out that post, and I'm going to be giving you my opinion shortly following it. All right, so let's get into the post. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the camera so you can see, well, not on the camera, but on the editing software so you can see it. All right. It says, at this year's ABKC Nationals event, we are introducing the Nationals Alternative Variety Showcase, a dedicated ring and show highlighting American Bully breed varieties, currently not represented in conformation. This is a separate ring from the main event and not pointed. It's to display ABKC registered dogs that have been campaigning for competition and to give breeders a chance to show their quality specimens and that the public an opportunity to see them in a conformation format. This event will feature 3 sex-separated categories. Firstly, blotched American Bullies, presently allowed for registration but not competition, will have their first annual showcase opportunity for breeders to exhibit exemplary conformation specimens. We've allowed them in fun shows all year to display, and this is the last time for the year. Secondly, the shorter pocket American Bully category will comprise American Bullies below the pocket varieties minimum height requirements. Please submit only top-notch conformation representatives. Lastly, extreme versions of the American Bully breed will be showcased. Only genuine extreme representations are eligible. Non-conformation format. Senior Judge Lou Manapin will preside over the Nationals Alternate Variety Showcase. Eligibility is restricted to ABKC registered dogs over 1 year old. We eagerly anticipate outstanding representations in these categories at the 2024 ABKC Nationals. This will not interfere with the Nationals main event. This week we'll unveil the layout featuring the National Showcase ring with additional ringside booths available. Thank you for supporting the ABKC and the 2024 Nationals. Booths available, and he provides a link. And obviously you can see the post, right? Now I'm gonna be giving my thought process, right? Because I gotta get up on out of here. I got a lot to do. So I'm gonna try and make this as quick as possible with as many minimum edits as I can. So the blotch class, right? Short, sweet, and simple, the Merle. The Merle obviously has its own genetic mutations, right? There's a reason why we can't breed Merle to Merle. There's a reason why it wasn't around from the beginning stages. You know, that's kind of controversial because a lot of people have said that, oh, it's been around for some time. It is what it is. This is how I look at it, right? To be honest with you, there's some badass Merle dogs in the community. A bunch of them. Now, I can think of 2 right off the top. Drip, who's absolutely phenomenal, who is extreme as hell. A dog that should absolutely go to the 2024 ABKC Nationals. And Jumanji. Obviously, we understand the significance of Jumanji. We understand how awesome he looks. And we understand that Bossy Kennels produced him. And he's one of the best, if not one of the elite Merles in the game. So, and he would no doubt, if he was in the show ring, he would grand champ. Jumanji is an amazing specimen of the American Bully breed, right? But when you think about it through that lens, and I need you to understand this, is that there are some badass American Bullies with the Merle pattern that are out there now that actually look better than some of these other dogs representing their respective classes. But the reality is that I don't believe that's where the problem is. I think a lot of people understand that the Merle's been around for some time. It's been around long enough where it can start being recognized. And to be honest with you, BRC was doing it from the rip. It hasn't been allowed in UKC yet, but I guess it just is what it is, right? Now, when we're talking about the extreme class, let's just be 100% frank and honest. The extreme class was there from the very beginning, and they got rid of it. To be honest with you, they should have never got rid of it, because extreme is designed for dogs that really push the extremities, man. We're talking about dogs that have a shit ton of substance, a shit ton of mass, that have a huge headpiece, a wide ass spread. To be honest with you, that should have never left. Because we have a bunch of dogs competing in standard class or competing in pocket class that technically classify as extreme. You get what I'm saying? And to be honest with you, when you start thinking about it from a global aspect, those are the dogs that are doing really, really, really well for the American Bully breed right now in terms of stud credits and in terms of people going that route because, you know, they're smaller dogs with a shit ton of substance packed onto them. And lastly, the exotics, right? That's the class that's smaller than the pocket bully, right? And I know a lot of people feel some kind of way that these dogs don't live a long time. They're not the best from a functionality standpoint. I 100% agree with that. But the reality is that there are some badass dogs in the exotic class. Well, I wouldn't call it a class, but that look amazing that just don't qualify to show in pocket class. And I believe that that's where the bulk of the issue is, right? Because the exotic class is known to be very controversial, right? From the community that comes with it. And I think a lot of people, to be honest with you, I think they don't want to be honest with themselves. They just feel like they don't want that at their shows. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to be just giving you my honest opinion on the whole situation, right? Because I was just going over it just to give you a brief overview. But the reality is that we don't know everyone's situation. Now, we don't know how the ABKC is doing. We don't know how the business is doing overall. The business could be thriving and this could just be greed. And the reality is, the goal of every businessman is to maximize the amount of profit that they can on their business. That's no different than each and every single one of us, right? Our goal is to maximize the amount of profit that we can to run a successful breeding business. And the same thing goes to the American Bully Kennel Club. However, without us knowing too many details on how the ABKC was doing, it really is hard to judge because I could just speak for everyone else. At the end of the day, we all have families to provide for. We have bills to account for. We have things that we have to get done. And if we're not able to provide those elements to them, sometimes we have to do what we have to do to at least get the food on the table and get the bills paid. So I'm not going to come from that round and say, hey, this is what's going on. I don't know anything. But the reality is that in business, sometimes we have to make decisions to maximize the amount of profit that we can. Obviously, we understand that Merles were allowed to register, exotics were allowed to register with the American Bully Kennel Club. However, they weren't allowed to show. Why was that? Right? So they were good enough for you to take their money, but they weren't good enough to get in the show ring. Okay, cool, got you. So now what that does is it puts the president and the members of the ABKC in a position where it's very hypocritical, right? Because other registries that are founded out after the ABKC, you know, they have their own rules in place and they do things the way they do it. But the reality is the ABKC is the founding club of the American Bully. We want, well, I'm assuming, and I'm gonna just say myself included, want the ABKC to uphold those standards. And when you're talking about upholding standards, you know what it is. You know the exotics weren't around when this breed club was founded, right? The Merle, in my opinion, wasn't really around at that time. We understand that the American Bully derived from the game dog, all right? Amstaff to American Pit Bull Terrier cross. So when you look at it through that lens, and you look at it through that perspective, it's a little bit different now when it comes to talking about the American Bully breed in its totality. But yet the founding club, right? You're supposed to stand on business. You're supposed to be 100% honest and keep the integrity of this breed. When you have the exotics in there, now how are we gonna have a unified look between the exotics, pockets, standards, classic, XLs, and extremes? There's just no way. There's no other way to look at it than it's just nothing more than a money bag scheme, just to get more money, to increase more financial revenue. That's what it looks like from the outside. And I get why a lot of people feel the way they are. But I see it from both ends, right? I see it from the side of, hey, listen, we have to provide the most we can. But I also understand that we can't all just be greedy. The reality is, listen, y'all know how I get down is God first. You know, I talk about him. I give him all the thanks and I give all the praise to him and his son. Y'all know how I get down already. The reality is, it talks about that in the Bible. Greed is the root of all evil, right? And understanding that we have to be content with where we are and learning how to be okay with it. And without knowing the financial situations and the circumstances with the ABKC, it really is hard to judge, or it's not our job to judge, but it really is hard to give an accurate opinion on the situation. If they are well off, this is just nothing more than we just want more money. why are we compromising the integrity of the breed for more money? You get what I'm saying? And that's where the issue is. Now, when we're talking about extremes and we're talking about a lot of these dogs that have been just pioneers and making the ABKC a shit ton of money, we're looking at all these stack-offs that have been happening. Look at the extreme dogs, the exotics, even these smaller dogs that have all the substance on them. Bro, they really defy genetics. They really do. They look insane. But the reality is that these dogs, and I see it from their lens, y'all allow us to be in the building, y'all don't allow us to show. And there is a key component to that is very controversial. Now, listen, man, with change, we can't be afraid of it. That's just what it is. What I will say is that we can't be hypocritical as well. We can't compromise the integrity of the breed knowing we're not even close to a unified look and allowing this to show, because all they did was they just opened up the door to be exactly like BRC, allowing exotics and extremes to show in one ring, and Merles. And listen, once again, nothing wrong. I'm totally fine with the Merle showing. I'm totally fine with the extreme class, because extreme class was there before and there's some really dope ass Merles out now. I personally would not breed for that in my program because that's just not the coding that I like for my dogs. But when it comes to the financial aspect, I think there's something to be said that I firmly believe that it was the job of the ABKC to make the decision based on the integrity of the breed. And it felt like, and I'm just gonna speak for myself, because I can't speak for everyone else, without knowing the financial circumstances and not knowing any specifics, all it looks like from the outside was that they were willing to compromise the integrity of the breed for more money. Now that sounds like, oh, that's a little crazy, right? Because it could be spun in a way where it's like this. Oh, well, if we want these exotics and these extremes to be more functional, hey, let's get some quality specimens in here and let's breed them to show dogs. Which, to be honest with you, most people have probably been doing that anyway. How many people have used an extreme ass dog and have bred it with a clean ass female and produced some badass dogs? Look at Grand Champion Mac. Grand Champion Mac, it literally exhibits that, being an R2G2 son. R2G2 is absolutely a phenomenal dog, and Mac is a badass dog. So look at Migos, another example. Look at Trapzilla, an extreme ass dog, but look at what he produced with Migos. Migos is badass, showing that at such a high level. So it's not like it hasn't been done. But I do think that now this has opened up the door to, now they're gonna have to start showing in the confirmation ring. You get what I'm saying? And I think when you start talking about the twists and flows, people, I believe, are a little bit more upset with the fact that the ABKC presidents and their staff just didn't stand on business and just say, yo, these are our standards, these are our requirements, and we're not wavering. As long as we're well off and we're making good enough to provide for everything, we don't need to have this. Hopefully it all works out, and I think it will, man. I think it will. I believe that what the ABKC is trying to do right now, I believe that they're trying to embrace this next wave of the American bully. And the reality is that they're allowed to register. Eventually, I'm pretty sure I can speak for the majority, that a lot of people felt eventually they were gonna cave in. And that's basically what happened, but it is different that they decided to cave in at the Nationals event. But I digress. And lastly, the last point I want to say before I get up on out of here. If we're going to be allowing Merles in the ring, which I'm okay with, and as of right now, they're saying they're not in the confirmation show ring. It's just basically like a glorified fun show. But I'm assuming that's where we're trending. And if we are trending, if we are indeed trending that way, then we need to be honest, because y'all know the Merle was paper hung. Y'all know that. Come on now, let's talk about Haka the Bulldog with the Merle pattern. Let's talk about the Merle coat. Comes from the Catahoula or the Alapala, the Bulldog. So we're gonna acknowledge these dogs, understanding that they hung the papers to get them in here to register, right? Then that means that we have to be honest from the very beginning of this breed, and you need to be 100% real and tell your people that people in fact hung on the Bulldog, paper hung on the Bulldog. You don't get those traits without the Bulldog, man. You just don't. You don't line breed on Amstaff and American Pit Bull Terrier to get Bulldog traits. That's just not how the genealogy works, man. It just doesn't. And again, if we are deflecting the question of where does the American bully derive from, right? And we're now going to allow these dogs that we know were paper hung to enter into the show ring eventually, to just be honest from the rip. Just be honest. Just keep it a stack. You know, that's just my opinion on it. I'm never afraid of change. Change is always good. Like I said, and I feel like I said this like 10 times already. No issue with the extreme class because it should have never left to begin with. And I know a lot of people felt like that, bro. There were extremes showing in standard and pocket class that should have been an extreme class. And they were beating dogs that had great conformation and great breed type just because they had more substance. All right, so think about it from that lens. And the Merles, once again, there's a lot of badass dogs that really have that wow factor with the Merles. So I don't see a way in which they shouldn't be allowed to show in their respective classes, and why Merle shouldn't be allowed to show in each class, because there's some badass dogs. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I've had the opportunity to see some of these badass dogs in person. There's some really, really dope dogs. But I do think that, just to close this out, that there was probably a plan in place to slowly move towards this direction the whole time. And I'm just thinking about it, thinking about how many shows were open to the fun show and getting these extremes out to be able to get them seen in front of a bunch of people. I just think the whole time right in front of us, even though, to be honest with you, they caught me off guard with it. Maybe we all got caught off guard with the fact that maybe they were just putting it in front of our eyes the whole time and they knew where they were going, and eventually they just eased us into this change and this transition of the American Bully Kennel Club. But those are my thoughts, you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and sub to the channel. Check off the bell notification icon to become part of the family. And now, with all of that being said, please forgive me for talking as much as I did. We give all the praise to the Most High for giving us the opportunity to be able to bring to you this video right here. Have a blessed day, you guys. And please let me know in the comments what you all thought about the news that the ABKC brought out there, man. Have a great day. Stay blessed. Enjoy it with your family. We'll catch you on the next one.